to be able to understand also from the real estate market and that point of view, are we helping our clients make a good investment? A lot of people, especially in this day and age, are wanting to make sure that they're putting their money in a wise position. And I think we're able to do that as well. But when it comes to the design, we're just so invested in not only making our clients' homes beautiful, but enhancing the way that they function day to day in their homes.
Welcome to the Business Ownership Podcast, brought to you by Awareness Strategies, helping you navigate the waters between entrepreneurship and ownership. Hey there, peeps. This is Michelle Nedelec, and I'm super glad that you're here with us today because I am here with my most amazing guest, the Palins. I'm so excited to have you guys here. So I can't wait to get into this. You guys take the stage to let everybody know who you are and what you do for a living.
I am Alex Young Palin, and I'm a residential designer.
My name is Eric Palin, and I am full-time in real estate, but we own Studio Tano Studio, our design firm, together.
Awesome. So how did you guys get into real estate and interior design as your thing?
I think
Go ahead, yeah.
it just happened organically as we kind of wrapped up our professional figure skating careers. We started to explore what we wanted to do after, and we just started leading with our passion. So we were already exploring investing in real estate and design and just discovered a passion for it and kind of a niche that we really liked working together on, and we just moved forward with that.
Specifically for me, it was something, this is kind of comes from professional sports in our angle. The lane that we were in, you work very, very hard to get there. And then when you are at that point, you work hard to either maintain your status or increase your status as a professional. And one of the things that was really important to me is as I exited professional figure skating, I wanted to be in an industry that paid me in accordance to my work, meaning the more that I work, the more money or the more potential I have to make rather than being capped. And so, the path of an entrepreneur was something that I wanted to take for many, many years. And like Alexandra said, we spent a lot of time diligently studying, training, doing lots of things in the exit of our skating career to prepare for this transition.
Nice. I can only imagine that as figure skaters traveling around the world, that you're staying at all these different places, going, "Hey, there's revenue to be made here." Was that seed still there, or was it planted at that time, or was it something that just kind of came up afterwards?
I think for me, that seed was planted a long time ago. Um, I would say that the seed grew into something different and something a little more special as we got to see the world. And I mean, I'll let Alex speak to that too. Part of what we do, I say we because sure, it is our business, but primarily it is hers. What we bring to the table from process planning, design, inspiration, and experience is literally global. You see that in the brand statement there on the website, but we have had the opportunity to literally be all over the world, and not just in and out. We experienced it. We spend weeks at a time, sometimes months in a new country, and so we do bring that to the table with us. Yeah.
Nice. Was there any spark of interest that you going, "Oh yeah, that villa in Tuscany or that thing," and was kind of the moment, or was it kind of a sprinkling of inspiration?
I think it was actually for me less about maybe certain places that we stayed in, but more about actually being able, like Eric said, to stay in those places for extended periods of time, immerse ourselves in the culture, immerse ourselves in the rich architecture that we got to see in
Like
so
what
many
places?
different cities, Japan, older cities in Europe, like Amsterdam. We really enjoyed just getting out during the day and exploring what that city had to offer from an architectural standpoint too.
One thing that I'll say, Michelle, that's kind of interesting, and I talk about this with clients all the time, and so does Alex. Calgary is not geographically restricted by anything. Okay, so unless you want to build a house on a little island in the Bow River. There's a couple of those, but we know we can't keep those forever. So what I mean by that is, although we are in proximity to valleys, ridges, lakes, and mountains, the city itself is not restricted geographically by anything like that, which is completely different than many of the other cities in the world, many of the other epicenters in the world. And because of that, Calgary has this ability to sprawl and develop and spread like many other cities don't. And we got inspired. And how I deal with clients is part of it, but specifically the design firm. And I think that's what Michelle was alluding to is we bring this experience and this look and this idea that so many people, A, have never seen, B, have only seen on their screen, but that we were immersed in, and that Calgary doesn't design, Calgary doesn't build that way because we don't have to. And it's not a negative, but it's a positive twist that we can bring.
Nice. I love it. I've heard so many people complain about Calgary's sprawl, and I'm like, I love Calgary sprawl. I gotta say, if you want to live in Singapore or, Hong Kong, good on you. Fabulous. Go ahead and go there. And if you like to be able to walk outside and stretch your arms and see the stars at night, there's actually places in Calgary you can still do that. So I love having my space, and I think it is a unique characteristic. I think it kind of brings down the the tempo a little bit. People are a little more relaxed here and kind of chill. And we like to look at our neighbors in the eye and say hi as we pass them. I love that feeling. So yeah, and talk to me about how does working with you look? What is that experience for somebody? What brings that je ne sais quoi to you guys?
I'm gonna add to something that kind
Yeah.
of you said, Michelle, and I'm gonna turn over to you, Alex. Um, because Calgary likes to sprawl, and because that's how it's done or it can be done. One of the things that we have particularly noticed a lot of, and I think that Alex is unbelievable at, is many people think that a design firm is, oh, you're an interior designer. So you're going to come in here and you're going to pick the paint and you're going to pick the tile or you're going to pick the wallpaper that goes with it. My goodness, there is so much more to a professional design firm and what we offer. And one of the things that I think that Alexander is incredible with, especially because of where we've come from, is process planning and ergonomics. I mean, talk to them a little bit about the some of the spaces that you've planned, how we've used things differently because we can. Um, I think that's, a really special element.
For sure. And to kind of answer your question at the same time, Michelle, that's definitely part of our process with the client, is not just me, but both of us putting our heads together. And I feel like we also leverage Eric's skills at that point too, to be able to understand also from the real estate market and that point of view, are we helping our clients make a good investment? A lot of people, especially in this day and age, are wanting to make sure that they're putting their money in a wise position. And I think we're able to do that as well. But when it comes to the design, we're just so invested in not only making our clients' homes beautiful, but enhancing the way that they function day to day in their homes. And I think our experience traveling and being immersed in other cultures allows us to have a different approach to know that it's not a one size fits all.
For example, some of the places that you mentioned earlier, Alex and Michelle, Japan, and how they design, how architecture works, the thought process and the approach is exactly opposite of what we do here in Calgary. But what's funny about it is because Calgary sprawls, excuse me, and we have that space, I find all the time how poorly used or designed or something is missing in spaces. And so, as an example, you guys will see on our website a big project that we did a couple of years ago is called the Beam House. And one of my favorite little details that we put our heads together that Alex put in is we actually did research on Alex did research on the top five most used um, robot vacuums. And the toe kick height in the kitchen was designed off of the height of those robot vacuums because Robot vacuums came out. It changed how we vacuumed our houses. It changed how we swept our houses and swept our spaces, but nobody had a place to put them. And it drives me crazy. You walk into a $2 million home and you see this little robot vacuum crashing into the wall. And so she designed the toe kick in the kitchen to a height that would fit the top five most sold in our area so that you could program the robot vacuum to park inside underneath in its own charging station. And it's details like that going back to the
Yay!
ergonomics, right? Like it's cool. It's cool. And going back to the ergonomics of how a space should work. Why? Alex brought up one side of our business, which is making a smart investment. In many cases, that isn't even the client that we work with the most. Sometimes it's about making that special space for them where money may not be as much of an object, but bringing in some of that influence and experience we have to really take something over the top, do something you haven't seen before, things like that.
I love that because I think it's important for people to realize that even though you want to, when you're building your dream house or your next house, you want to fall in love with it, you want to be happy in that space, but there's still an element of is somebody else going to appreciate the things? I mean, you can always paint over the color, you can always do things, but when there's those little special things and somebody notices those, that's kind of when you know, oh, this is the person I want to sell my house to because they get it. They love this space. And sometimes it's, the fiscal element to it. And sometimes you just want to know that somebody else is happy in that space so that you can let it go and move on to the next one.
You should share with Michelle, I think, furthering to the question she asked. I think this is very key. Why don't you tell everybody how we start, why it's called a discovery appointment, and what that looks like? Because I think that's really the first step that not everybody does. And the way that we market it, the way that you do it, I think is exceptional.
Mhm. So every client that we meet or anyone who wants to sit down and have their first appointment with us, we go through what we call a discovery. And the discovery is really just about learning what their challenges are, revealing any spaces or kind of negatives that they have in their home that are really impeding either the way that they enjoy the view of their space or the functionality of their space or both. And a lot of times it's both and more. And then we explore ways that we could make changes that make sense for them and just kind of get into kind of putting our heads together to understand what their needs are, even as far as, Eric and I got to have a discovery with a beautiful couple recently, and we're renovating their kitchen. And we got so deep into even just discussing what's your favorite meal? How do you cook it? Where do you like it? Where your utensils are going to be and things like that, because those are the things that go above and beyond. Wow, that kitchen really looks beautiful, but at the end of the day, it needs to function beautifully for the person who's using it.
I mean, even the way that you just said that, Alex and Michelle, like this is so funny, and that's why I want to share this. Like, is where do your utensils go? What everybody does is going, okay, there's a drawer, they're gonna fit in there, I'll put them there. But let's start behind that. Where do you want them, and why do you want them there? That's how a space, a home, a project gets developed. Michelle cooks scallops every single day. Okay, well, that's bougie. Good for you. Where are the scallops stored? What do we need to reach first? How far should it be? I want this massive pantry. What are you going to do in there? What is this room for? Um, you know, back to the other side in collaborating our expertise, there are elements of the business that I am involved in on a regular basis. Um, a client comes in and they want to acquire something. Well, I'm going to help them find that property. Or maybe they're changing properties, so I'm helping them with a sell and a buy or one or the other because they'd like to do a project. But sometimes it's a scenario where they can't find what they're looking for. We do a design in mind that they're not going to be there forever. Then we're really layering in a lot of different things. And we're going, okay, well, what's going to need to be this? We want to make sure that everything we're doing is not super, super specific, but timeless, so that this investment is going to carry you forward and it's going to make sense when you sell. Not pigeonholing a client, guiding them in the right spots. You know, Alex is really good at this. That's a great idea. Let's cover the wall in fur. However, from a utility standpoint, it's going to be warm, you know, like those types of things I think we do quite well. Um, yeah.
I love that. It reminds me of a friend of mine had a house and they put the coffee station where the phone used to be back when people had landlines. You
Right.
had a phone. And it was convenient because it was the first kind of shelf when you walked into the room because you were running to answer the phone out the door. It's not so convenient when your water is on the other side of the room and you're constantly walking back and forth. I mean, people just don't think of these little things that are happening. But when you guys are constantly looking at them and going like, I don't think that's gonna work for you long term. So I love the finesse and the insight. I think it's just hugely important. It's like the equivalent of talking to an engineer going, "Hey, I want this balloon-shaped house." It's like, "Okay, yeah, but is it gonna stand? Or is it gonna stand the test of time?" And that is so much fun to be able to look at your properties. So I mean, my brain's going a million miles an hour going, hey, this is a great idea and for investors if somebody's looking at buying a house and flipping it, but getting your perspective on it because I've seen so many people that buy and flip and it's like, dear God, what were you thinking? How did are you like, I get it, it's functional, but how much more valuable could this house have been? Like, let's talk about value for a second, like resale value, and we can go into the heart and loves of things in a bit if you want to. But I think fiscally, it's super important, especially if people are buying and investing, flipping, that they're looking at things like this.
Yeah, and like great question, Michelle. Flipping, and I'll just say to everybody listening and to you, flipping a house, doing that type of project, incredible. Could we add a lot of value to that? Probably. Not our client though. And the reason why is the key to making a successful flip is plan, process, and speed. And Tano Studio does two of those very, very well. And speed is something that matters at key points of a project that we would do. But we usually do projects that are longer, much bigger, and probably doesn't necessarily directly fit a flip market. Now, what we have done and what we will continue to do is identify a gap in the market where we know that our services and our abilities and our skills can really lend and will create something that you can't find. Value specifically, I think, is a massive topic in real estate. And, you know, we can have a whole nother podcast on that
Nah,
value.
let's talk about love
But
of homes
you
because that's
know,
what we all really want to talk about. It's like, okay, Michelle, that was cute, but everybody loves their home, right? So who is your ideal client? Who do you love to work with, and how do they kind of identify themselves and go, oh, that's me. I totally want to work with you.
Our ideal client is definitely somebody that wants to create something for themselves, for their space that they cannot find in the market. We love working with clients who want to acquire a property and then execute what we would call a redesign or reimagine of that space where we take either an existing home or an existing piece of land and create something for them. These clients usually fall between the 1.8 to 2.5 million investment
and
and up from there. We're able to create something really, really incredible to deliver an incredible value at that price point too.
and just to clarify what she's talking about there, we would work with anyone at any budget, supposedly. Ideal client, to be really direct, would be probably mid 30s up. I find 40 plus and up. This is a really key element that we lean on, and we constantly try to find better ways to lean into this. We want to work with people who understand the value of a design and a plan first. It is so different than I have an idea to do a renovation. Let's call a contractor. The contractor is going to say yes, and he's going to quote on everything that you want. We're doing exactly the opposite thing. We are creating down to the decimal point, to the millimeter, a fantastic, fully thought out curb to alley plan inside and out that a qualified builder or contractor could execute on. We would then tender to those trades in-house, project manage in-house, or we would prepare that package for a client to work with that builder or developer that they want. Why? Why would we do that? Why don't you tell them why we approach it that way and the level of detail that goes into it? Because that's what makes that client successful.
For sure. So from our expertise and what we do, starting with the design and with the process is so important, because at the end of the day, that's what's going to make the client feel at home. And then once we've created that package and cultivated their interiors and we know exactly how we want that space to feel, at that point, then we have a realistic package to send to those professionals where they're actually quoting on the real materials, the real square footage, exactly what's going to be going in that space. And then from there, if we want to adjust the numbers, then we can work with the contractor and with the client to say, okay, maybe this material, we could look for a close option here to bring that down or to bring something up, or, oh, we have more space than we thought. Do you want to upgrade your appliances? Things like that. And it really gives us the ability to have the contractor and have the client be happy at the end of the project because they know what the costs are going in. There's no surprises. And B, have the clients enjoy the process and not feel overwhelmed by the contractor asking them questions that they probably don't know the answer to.
It's a way to it's a way to set everyone up for success, set expectation, and really pave the road. You know, a contractor that comes into your house, Michelle, or ours, and we say, I want to do a built-in over here in this cute bench. Well, that's great. What does it look like? How long is it? Is it made out of walnut or rough pine from Home Depot? Like massive, massive difference. And everybody goes, I want to tie this all together because everybody goes, well, I thought an interior designer only did this. No, we do a lot more. And that person who understands the value of that planning and that design, that's who we want to talk to every single day. And if that's you listening, the phone's right beside us. Let's chat because, we have some really exciting meetings coming up and have had some exciting meetings this year with custom home builders who are looking for another design team to be aligned with. Believe it or not, there are several custom home builders, many in Calgary, that will not build a home that is not led by a design team. Really different way of thinking about things because I know a lot of people think that Calgary just builds really, really fast and explodes. But there's a huge market for what we're doing and we're excited about it. Yeah.
I love it. Well, and I think it's so important because, things like people will look at a space and go, oh, yeah, we want a bench over there because we need some space to sit down. But they don't consider the fact that really the entire kitchen probably shouldn't be at the, in the space that it's in. And maybe it would function better if it was in a completely different space. Like people just don't think that way on that scale. And it can be so important to have somebody like you to be able to brainstorm and figure out to be able to draw and ask the right questions to draw out what they really, really want, as opposed to, I just want a bench in that corner. In a second here, I'm going to ask you about a Cinderella story of one of your clients. But before I do that, we are going to take a quick break.
Are you running a business over 7 figures but still struggling with technology headaches? Pay attention, you do not want to miss this offer. This podcast episode is brought to you by Awareness Strategies, who is offering a custom-built digital adoption roadmap for anyone running a business over 7 figures who's wanting to grow their business in the next 5 years. And it's not just a roadmap, they offer full implementation as well if that scares the out of you. Check out awarenessstrategies.com/roadmap for more details today. The link's in the show's notes. Don't regret not doing this. Do it now. That's awarenessstrategies.com/roadmap.
So I am super excited to hear about a Cinderella story of one of your clients.
Yeah. Do you want to start with the beam house?
Sure.
So I'll start us off to everybody listening, and then Alex is going to have some really fun things to add. But long story short, the beam house was actually our home, and we were building something that was supposed to be a bit of a showcase of our potential. We took something that you would never see the outcome initially. Alex spent an immense amount of time planning with the team to make it executed. Fast forward, things are going quite well, project's coming to an end, and I said, this may sound silly, but I see it all over with real estate. Let's put a really nice sign in the yard, designed by. And the phone rang that evening.
Yeah, so I actually had some clients reach out once we had installed the design firm sign out front, and they were curious about doing a project. We found out that they also lived in the neighborhood, they lived on the same street as us, and they were curious. They were feeling like they were outgrowing their home with their family and wanted to explore doing a project like we had done on that house. So I said,
So they came over for a discovery.
yeah, love to meet you. Let's set up a discovery. Hosted it inside the home, and they walked in and were absolutely floored by what they saw. They were not expecting anything near to what they saw when they walked in that front door. And
Yeah, go ahead.
so we had the discovery, got to know each other, and then we're kind of staying in touch about, okay, well, let's decide how we want to move forward with this project, what kind of areas you guys want to be in. And lo and behold,
The knock on the door.
he shows up again the next morning
And so
and wants to talk to Eric.
yeah. So after they had had the discovery appointment, and I really like how you asked the question, Michelle, because this is really a Cinderella story. They, long story short, thought about it throughout the day and over the night. There was about a day gap, and they said, this is a hell of a lot of work, and we're not sure we want to take this on. And I said, well, the good thing is you're not taking it on alone. We're doing it for you. And he said, well, I have a bit of a different idea, and I'd like to talk to you about buying your home. And so the conversation switched, which very, very quickly. But to further this Cinderella story, Alex has been back working with them on many different things. She's built out the office completely custom for them. She's curated furniture. Not quite forks in the drawer, but that reminds me of the Onyx penthouse. Why don't you, tell them a little bit about that to get everybody up to speed really fast here. Had the pleasure of working with this fantastic client who wanted a concierge type experience, and ended up finding them a property of their own in Le Germain Residences downtown. And that's kind of where the story starts.
Yeah, I think this project is actually a great example of how we integrate and how we work together. I was actually brought on to do the discovery with this client before he acquired the property. He really wanted to understand what was going to be possible in that space before he jumped in and pulled the trigger on that project. So Eric had set up a showing for him where I attended and got to immerse myself in the space and really understand kind of what he wanted. And we did a quick discovery where I took him through, the vision for the space and what I really thought was possible based on what his wishes were. And he absolutely loved it and went for it. So we began that project last January, early February.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, one thing too, just to everyone listening here, and I just gotta be a little biased here and support my incredible wife. The level of detail that went into this project is something that a lot of people don't consider possible. And there are many design firms out there that do this and do a really good job. But for us, this was something that was so detailed, exciting from the beginning to the end. Alex took him through not only bringing comfort to making a decision in the investment with my backing. We talked about value, we talked about possibilities, all within the in the space of an hour. And that project became not only something that the client A was able to acquire because of his comfort and advice that we gave him, but B, Alexandra then went and, just to set the stage for you guys listening, because you can't see it, this is one of the most luxurious concepts in downtown living that Calgary's ever seen. And she gutted the whole thing. And we have photos of it, and everything was torn right down to the studs. And she completely reimagined this at a white glove level of service because the client um, is from out of town. And right from the beginning, before the trigger was pulled to purchase, to the fork in the drawer, every piece of furniture, where the art hung, every piece of art, the curtains, why those curtains, every detail you can think of that go into a home was planned and executed on for this client in a reasonable amount of time. And it turned out spectacular. So, any of you guys excited about that, keep an eye out because there's a bunch of marketing coming out about that project.
Nice.
Um, but wow, I mean, what else did you do in that?
We
Literally everything.
absolutely we took care of every single detail in that project. This building was built in the early 2000s. It had some really dark woods, dark tile, dark paint, and our client is somebody that loves uh beautiful,
Right.
bright, light, open space that feels contemporary, but still, very elevated, but still comfortable. He
Hmm.
wants to be able to relax and enjoy his space as well.
Maybe,
And
yeah, super cool.
so we took care of everything from flooring, new kitchen, new bathrooms, creating different spaces, different feelings, and, redefining some layouts, some storage, and an added challenge for sure on that project was it's a condo building. So, understanding how we were going to be able to have all the trades come in and execute everything the way that they needed to in that different space and understanding how everything needed to function in that building as well.
Yeah, we had
And
to adjust. Alex suggested again. I know you guys, I'm being really biased here. She's my favorite, but we changed. She had to change how the team works when they work because there's certain hours you can't just access it easily. What pieces are coming when and on what day so that there's not an elevator problem. So she lined that up with not only hotel concierge, but the residence concierge. There were two project managers. There were trades from all different levels involved in this project. And like I said, right down to the napkin color that's folded in the drawer and the silverware. We
Nice.
took it beyond that. Alex guided them through our top referrals for cleaning company, why, when, how often. And we really made it an experience that they could sit back. We checked in, on a Zoom call, showed them the progress along the way, and handed them the keys at the end as if they had always lived there.
Nice. I love that. I just picture something from Austin Powers as the star going, I love the location, but we have a problem inside. Going, oh, that's okay. I can actually see the potential in this. And it's like, oh, good, because I can't. And then, well, yeah. And then just dealing with cities and permits and all that craziness because people think, oh, yeah, we'll just come in at 6 in the morning and start smashing walls down. It's like, no, you can't do that. That's not the way this is going down. The neighbors are all freaking out. Oh, the headaches I think you solved for this person without them having a clue how many headaches they would have had they done it. I
Yeah,
mean,
and
had they
at
dealt with any of it on their own.
right,
mhm.
Michelle? Like at a distance. So this
Right.
wasn't a thing where, Michelle comes over on a Thursday and checks how's it going. It was hundreds, if not thousands of miles away, depending on what the client schedule was, that all of this happened in complete synchronicity.
Wow.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Wow. I love that. So,
Crushed it. Like you killed it.
It should be quite an incredible
Yeah.
project.
Yeah.
Yes, we're very happy with that one. So stay tuned. We'll be releasing that in our portfolio on the website soon.
nice. Well, I am so excited. I can't even wait to go and see your website and I know our listeners are going to want to get started with you. How did they start their journey with you?
Absolutely. So, on our website, under Contact Us, you'll find a super user-friendly Calendly link, and that's where you can go and book your first call with us. It's very easy to do. You can also reach us by phone, email, or through any of our social channels.
Hmm.
Nice.
I've got to say, Michelle, speaking of how do you reach us and why, I gotta, I gotta say this for everyone because I think it's super special. Um, Within our first full year of being open as a brand and design firm, Alex was recognized by Western Living and was nominated. Um, they had never that year had that many applicants for any of their awards at all. And Alex was nominated as top five for Emerging Design Firm of the Year in
Nice.
2024. And we were invited into a room of absolute legends. And to walk into a space like that and have people go, "Oh, you did this project," or "That's your work," was very special and eye-opening. And so I guess the reason why I brought that up is when you, if anyone listening is interested in doing a big project or renovation, she has gotten some recognition earlier on in her career than many because she's a badass. And so if you can't remember where to find us, find a way
Yeah.
because
Most
it's
adorable badass ever.
right. Yeah.
Nice. I love it. Well, yeah, give us websites, give us she's also been in magazines, have you not? Are we
Yep.
allowed to tell? Did I just let the cat out of the bag? I'm
No,
sorry.
yeah.
Um, we were featured in the Calgary Herald, for a Beam House project,
Mhm.
and that was a really, really fun interview, for us to get to do together and just kind of talk about our transition actually from professional skating into creating a dream house, creating
Mhm.
the Beam House.
Nice.
And so, yeah, we were delighted to be featured with that as well. And I was actually a finalist last year for Forbes Entrepreneur of Impact as well.
Nice.
So that was
Mhm.
something really cool to be a part of too.
That is awesome. Well, and I may have let the cat out of the bag. So peeps, when we will of course have all the links in the show notes. Go ahead and scroll down. Click open on a new browser. You know that because we're not done yet. And go and search the articles that they may have been published in since the production of this show. So awesome. I love it. And give us your URL or your website as well so that they can hear it just in case you're not somewhere where they can access the notes.
Absolutely. It's www.tanostudio.ca.
Spell it out for us.
TanoStudio.ca.
That was a skill testing question on that one. Awesome, peeps. I love it. So, you guys, I get to ask you, at what point in life did you know that you were special kind of crazy enough to think that you could become entrepreneurs?
Mm. We were special kind of crazy enough to think that we could be entrepreneurs after we realized that we were special kind of crazy to be successful as a professional figure skating pair team. I I
Yeah,
joined
back up the bus. Tell us that story. I want to know. I want to know.
I joined the show circuit before the professional side. I joined the professional side of figure skating before Alex. She was more successful as an athlete than I was amateur. But skating is backwards. You compete as an amateur, you do not get paid. When you're professional, you do not compete, but you get paid and you do shows. I know that's a tongue twister. You can reach us on the website and I'll tell you the whole thing in detail. So I was part of the circuit prior, been on there a couple years. I was Ken doll for Disney on Ice, and they hired Alex to be Barbie.
Ah, that's
So
adorable.
we were in a pressure cooker of time to amalgamate as a pair team and work things out, bringing two different disciplines and focuses of skating together. And the funny thing is the premise was that I was showing Barbie my dream house, and now here we are.
Oh, that's so cute. That's adorable. I cannot imagine. So you had to have known how to skate.
I think what
You
you
weren't
really
just.
ask them is like, when did you fall in love with me? You know, like that. Stay tuned.
Exactly. Was it when you knew he was Ken, or was it when you saw the house?
think it was when I saw the house.
Jeez.
I'm kidding. No, but that experience and it sounds so glamorous skating for Disney on Ice and parts of it are very glamorous, but it's a lot of hard work. And
Mhm.
for Eric and I, obviously we had just met, so we were not a couple right from the beginning, but we became a couple as time went on. And working with your spouse, we were doing sometimes 3 shows a day, working 12-hour days together and having to be able to improve ourselves constantly, make adjustments, learn how to survive in a different country with
High pressure
high pressure
situations,
situations,
adaptability.
different food, different languages, different
Mm,
time zones, and being away from our families and the people that we love, and learning how to adapt and work with different people and communicate
mm,
differently. And so I feel like all those things really just gave us some incredible tools to now transition into our business of learning how to communicate with our different clients, show them that there's different ways of thinking about
mhm.
things, and really be passionate about what we do. And we're so relentless. And I think we really take
Yeah,
our athletic backgrounds into that. We're never happy. Even when we do something really beautiful, we're always looking for ways to improve ourselves.
yeah. I want to just jump off that if I can. And to anyone listening who is an entrepreneur, who is a business owner, in your mind right now, there is a risk and there's something that you've been thinking about that you have not acted on. And you do not know the possibility if you don't try. It is it is wide open right now for anyone in any business. It's wide open. If you take the risk first, you will do one of two things. You will reap the benefit or you will learn a hell of a lot. And if you don't take the risk, you're not going to go anywhere. So do it. Just go for it. I mean, we bought our first property, which was a project, from the belly of a cruise ship in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, never seeing it.
Wow.
We did not lose money. We did not become millionaires either. Uh, and we did okay. And
It's
so
still not.
did we ever. We learned a ton. And so if that's, inspiring to you guys or encouragement or a big hug from us to you, from Barbie and Ken to you, take a risk.
I love it. I was going to ask you any last words for our peeps, but you nailed that one. So that's a mic drop. I'm going to go there. Thank you so much for being here today. I appreciate it immensely, and I know how valuable your time is.
Thank you, Michelle. Thanks for having us.
Thanks so much for having us, Michelle.
Awesome. Peeps, this is Michelle Nedelec. Thank you for being here with us today. Be sure to subscribe to the show and share it with your friends. We love helping entrepreneurs grow. Okay, peeps, we were in the green room talking, and Alex is unleashed on me the good news for you guys, and I have to tell you about this because I'm stoked. So we've been talking about Calgary and the market here, but are you guys confined to Calgary?
Absolutely not. We are actually currently exploring some opportunities with clients in Mexico, Ontario, and also likely, hopefully, on the East Coast in the next couple of years. So we're definitely open to exploring those types of projects with clients as well. Doesn't have to even be in Canada, like I said. Mexico's on the table right now, and we're very excited to assist clients in Europe or in the US or Asia as well, and offer kind of our point of view of what we've learned and just kind of embrace different countries and cultures again.
Nice. I love it. And you're not confined to kind of your primary residency either. A lot of people I understand are looking at are working on their secondary properties, their resorts, their condos, their cabins, their accessories. Tell me about that.
Absolutely. So I think a lot of people for sure want that second space right now. It's something that we're seeing a lot. And something that we're seeing a lot too right now with that second space is that people actually want to use it as a short-term rental while they're not there, so that they're able to have some gains from it as well and enjoy it while they are there. And I think our experience from traveling, staying, living in Airbnbs, living in hotels really lends itself to that side as well. And we're getting interested in and putting feelers out there. We'd love to also design a boutique hotel with an investor or client as well. So that's something that we're kind of putting our feelers out there for right now.
Nice. So there's people out there that are going, hey, I need a good idea. Talk to me more about this boutique hotel idea. Typically, when somebody's looking at this, and some people may not know what a boutique hotel is. So let's start with what is the definition of a boutique hotel? And then we'll get into the nuts and bolts of the business of it.
For sure. So, boutique hotels usually a one-off, not a chain hotel, usually a smaller, more unique style space. So it could be either a smaller building or a more unique building, maybe something that we would kind of in the past traditionally think of as more of a bed and breakfast style, but maybe on a little bit of a larger scale.
Right. Well, and if people haven't seen these, I've seen a lot of them, I would say in Vancouver areas where they have these old buildings that are kind of stuck together, little tiny buildings, and you can build out a 6 suite, a 12 suite, or a 24 suite hotel. And it's, maybe they just have the room, or maybe they have a restaurant, or maybe there's just a restaurant next door. So it can combine to make more of an experience for people. But these are super fun. And the reason I'm getting excited about this is because I know people that are looking for what's the next trend? Where are people moving to? What are they kind of doing? Airbnb kind of killed the hotel, but what they don't realize is that they didn't kill the boutique hotel because people love these, especially if they're done right. Like it's the experience is, what used to be the Instagram wall of they just want to be able to experience something new and cool, and bringing you into that idea totally makes sense to me. So, at what point would you love to communicate with somebody who's thinking about, maybe starting a boutique hotel?
Today. Today.
So no point in the conversation. Is it too early for step in and have a conversation with you? That's what I'm hearing.
Absolutely not. We're working on a lot of projects right now, but would definitely love to. I mean, we always love starting the conversation early with people so that we can make sure that their timeline is planned out properly. And I love what you said too about taking an older building that's an unused space and turning it into something functional. I mean, that's something that we look for when we're looking for properties for clients for homes sometimes too, right? And that's kind of where we love to be is we love to be in a property where somebody else would say, we have no idea what to do with this. Let's just tear it down.
No, don't tear it down. Talk to Alex first. Talk to Alex
Uh,
first.
I mean, sometimes it's unavoidable,
Yeah.
properties just can't be saved. They're not safe or it's gonna,
Right.
the budget just the dollars don't make sense. But
Right.
I mean, the beam house is a great example of that too, is, that home, that space is something that we really believe somebody else would have come in and torn down, and we were able to create something really special and working in the confines of, I shouldn't say confines because I don't feel confined, but how can we transform this space? What can we do with it? Not the school of thinking of, well, we can't do anything with that, so let's just start over.
Well, and again, my brain's going 10 million different directions because I know of a few buildings where they've taken elements out of the old building because it was a hazard and they had to demolish it. But they took the elements of the space and they either replicated it in a safer material, in a new material, so it still had the look and feel. And then they took elements that might have been foundational and made them design elements like the hardwood on the floor and put them on the walls kind of thing to keep the look and feel, but to change the elements and the design of it. Oh, my brain goes so many directions. I love talking to you. I got to get off the phone so that other people can go and talk to you. I know your phone's been ringing off the hook. Apologize to your clients for me. Love your time. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Michelle.
Are you running a business over 7 figures but still struggling with technology headaches? Pay attention, you do not want to miss this offer. This podcast episode is brought to you by Awareness Strategies, who is offering a custom-built digital adoption roadmap for anyone running a business over 7 figures who's wanting to grow their business in the next 5 years. And it's not just a roadmap, they offer full implementation as well if that scares the out of you. Check out awarenessstrategies.com/roadmap for more details today. The link's in the show's notes. Don't regret not doing this. Do it now. That's awarenessstrategies.com/roadmap.